Buying cyber insurance. My name's Andrea, and I'm the marketing manager here at A&P. Before we get started, just a few housekeeping notes. As a courtesy, I just like to announce that this webinar is being recorded. Kindly keep your microphones muted during today's presentation. If you can jot down any questions that you have in the chat, we will save some time at the end for Q&A. And as mentioned in the invite, we are offering a free cyber insurance readiness assessment for any attendees who are interested. Finally, after this presentation, I'm going to send out a quick survey that give us your feedback on how we did so we can continue to improve these events. So that's all for me, and I will go ahead and pass it over to Dave.
Great, Andrea. Hey, thanks so much. I want to thank everyone for taking a half hour out of your day today to find out about how to buy cyber insurance. If you're not familiar with A&P, we're a IT managed service provider that focuses on helping our clients migrate to the cloud so they never have to buy another file server or Exchange server and just operate all their IT out of the cloud using Microsoft 365 and also Microsoft Azure. For most of our clients, IT security is their top priority, and that's really what we're going to be talking about here today. A&P's been doing this since 1984, and we support customers that have anywhere from 20 to 500 PCs. Here's what we're going to talk about today, kind of the who, what, and where about cyber insurance. We'll share with you how to go about buying it, who should be buying it, what to look out for when you're buying it to make sure you're buying the right policy for yourself, as well as how are the insurance companies looking at you as a potential insured and whether or not they actually want to take any risk with you. So for many of you that are business owners or perhaps managers in the business, you're already used to buying business insurance. And I'm going to guess today you're buying a business owner's policy. You're probably buying some kind of liability policy. I suspect if you have any vehicles owned in your business, you're buying automobile insurance for the business. Depending on the type of work you do, you might also be buying an errors and emissions policy. Here at A&P, because we're delivering primarily services, we always have an E&O policy. And then on top of all of these various policies, you typically, an owner will buy some kind of umbrella that just, kind of ties everything together and also extends the limit of coverage higher than the policies by themselves. I guess the most important thing to recognize here, a cyber insurance policy is not covered in your BOP or your E&O or any liability policies you own today. So if you're worried about cyber insurance, or you're concerned, or perhaps you've already been attacked in your business by a cyber criminal, cyber insurance is not in these policies. So if you haven't specifically bought a cyber policy, you're not covered. So what is cyber insurance, and what does that look like? Well, the whole idea of cyber insurance is to protect you from criminal IT activities involved in your business. And the idea here would be honestly to mitigate financial risk, so that if something does go sideways, you have some protection from the insurance company. And to me, it's just one more tool as you're layering additional IT security onto your employees and your company's IT environment. But frankly, cyber insurance policy is really the last resort. God forbid you have to use it, because if you have to use it, something's going on. But absolutely a last resort. And the biggest takeaway I'd like you to have today is that if you have a cyber insurance policy, that still means you need to have really good IT hygiene. You really need to be doing a good job with your IT security, and don't assume because you have a policy you don't have to worry about your IT hygiene. So who needs a cyber insurance policy, and why do you need it? Unfortunately, cyber criminals today are working overtime to attack your business. It's literally a 24-hour, 7-day game. And we can see with our customers, because we're monitoring customers as they get attacked, that this is a continuous thing. We've seen this over the years ramp up, and it's almost nonstop in certain customers. So it depends on kind of your line of business and what you do. But I'll tell you what, the cyber criminals are smart because this is a big business for them. They're investing a lot of energy on what they're doing and how they're doing it. So I would ask you, are you a business that stores sensitive customer data? Do you have vendor data or partner data that you're storing? Does your business do a lot of credit card transactions, or are you involved in a lot of ACH electronic transactions, or perhaps you just have under a contractual agreement that you need to have cyber insurance? But if you're doing any of these kinds of things, you have data you want to protect that's sensitive, or you have data that would absolutely cannot be lost, or you're doing a lot of financial electronic stuff, then you need a cyber insurance policy. Very important. So what are you buying when you get a cyber insurance policy? Like, kind of, what's included in it? Well, let's just pretend that we found out that one of your employees has inadvertently given up their user ID and password, and someone is actually in your network. We've discovered there's a bad guy in your network, and the minute that we find that's the case, we go to the insurance company and we evoke your policy and start what's called a cyber incident. Now, we never say it's a ransomware attack. We never say it's a malware attack. And the reason we don't use any of that language is because we don't know yet. We don't really know what's happened. So whenever something goes sideways from a security perspective with your IT, we always refer to it as a cyber incident. And it's important that you use the right language, because the words you use now will be held against you later if something becomes just kind of a legal matter. So what's the first thing you're getting? Well, so someone's broken into your network, and we're concerned about it. We're going to go to the insurance company, and the first thing they're going to do is have you speak to a lawyer that they have on staff that they've already hired. And what the purpose of the lawyer conversation before we do anything else is to establish attorney-client privilege. So what we want to do is lock down as much of the communication about this incident as possible. And the purpose of locking it down is, God forbid down the road, if something becomes public, if something gets litigated down the road, by establishing client privilege early on, if any documents are going to be subpoenaed regarding this incident, you have the ability to claim privilege, that's a privileged document, and not share it. So this is very intentional that you would go with legal first. The second step is the insurance company is also going to have on staff a forensic investigation company. And imagine if there is a murder in your town. The first thing that happens is the police wrap yellow tape around the crime scene, and then they call in the detectives. Well, a forensic investigation is essentially IT detectives showing up to figure out what happened in your environment. And quite literally, your IT environment becomes a crime scene. The FBI would want all the evidence to be preserved, and you want all the evidence to be preserved. And so really your IT servers, your IT environment becomes a crime scene, and the forensics people show up and start step by step trying to unravel what happened. Sometimes the forensic investigation, the report itself at the end of this is a 100% requirement. If you have, if you're subject to HIPAA regulations, if you're a community bank and you're subject to Graham Leahy banking regulations, or if you're a small public business but it's still traded publicly, you're responsible to Sarbanes-Oxley. So there's lots of different places where, depending on your business, if you get a cyber attack, the forensic report's going to be absolutely required at the end of the report. The next thing you get is a public relations firm. And again, the insurance company will have this already contracted for. And with any luck, we never use the public relations firm because we want to keep it quiet. But if something does get out into the public sphere, having a public relation firm that has pre-written scripts on what to say and what not to say, it's already been vetted by the lawyers, and we're ready to go if we need to make a statement. Otherwise, typically during a cyber incident, you don't tell your employees, you don't tell your vendors, you try to keep it absolutely as quiet as possible during the investigation period. The next thing that's included in your policy is the ability to rebuild your IT systems on an emergency basis. And we've had prospects call us up. Oh my goodness, someone's attacked us. Can you help us? And we'll get in and help a customer rebuild their IT environment. Once we got the bad guy out, if they had destroyed a server, encrypted your file server or whatever, all that has to get rebuilt. And the rebuilding of that, because it's being done like on a 24-hour emergency basis, it's extremely expensive. And so you want to make sure you have a policy that covers, any repairs that are required. And finally, and the final thing here is, God forbid, your data truly is encrypted, your backups are encrypted, and you have to pay the ransom. I've never seen that happen, but if you listen to the FBI, $1 trillion a year is being paid out in ransom to these criminals. So that's trillion with a T, which to me is hard to imagine that kind of money's going on right now in ransom payments. But this is the state of where we find ourselves right now. So it's unlikely that you'd have to pay a ransom, but what is likely, of all the policies you own, your BOP, your liability, your automobile, your workman's comp, the most likely policy right now to pay any kind of claim is a cyber insurance policy. So it should come as no surprise to you that if the insurance companies are really getting hammered right now on paying out claims on cyber insurance policies, the premiums are skyrocketing. And we've heard of customers where the premiums are doubling. We've heard of customers where the premiums are going up 25%. Any way you look at it, premiums are headed up, and it's because the insurance companies are having a really bad loss ratio on these policies. What's even worse is that it'd be one thing to have to pay for the forensics investigation, to pay for a lawyer, to pay for your IT company to rebuild some servers, but the by far the more damaging circumstance is when we have to pay the criminals a ransom to get your data unencrypted. And the amount that criminals are asking for in ransom payments is really going up. And you can see the statistic here. It went up 82% in 1 year, and it's continuing to go up. And I'm going to put a little more color on this comment for you later, so you'll see why this number is going up so quickly if you have to pay a ransom. And then, unfortunately, if the insurance company does have to pay a ransom on your behalf, you're more than likely are going to get dropped from the company next year, and it's going to be next to impossible to get coverage. So you really don't want to find yourself in this situation. And the way to avoid all this is to just implement some IT cybersecurity best practices, and we're going to get into that a little bit today. So what's the impact of a cybersecurity attack? Well, I would say it's threefold. There's a financial component to the attack. There's an emotional component to the managers and staff that have to go through it. And there's also an operational toll just simply on your employees and business. We have seen, and it's very typical, that if there is a successful attack in a business, you're probably going to be without your IT systems for 2 weeks. So imagine running your business without IT for 2 weeks. And I know here at A&P, we rely on our line of business software so much and other applications that we use that if we did not have that for 2 weeks, it'd be very difficult, for us to actually run the business. And I suspect you're the same way. So again, staying out of the crosshairs of a cyber attack is just absolutely critical. The likelihood you're going to lose revenue, you're going to lose sales, You're probably not going to be able to receive inventory or ship inventory if you do those kinds of things. God forbid, you might also lose your reputation from your client's perspective, your vendor's perspective, or even your employees might lose faith in you when they're wondering, why don't we have our IT for 2 weeks? So these are all bad things from a culture perspective. And and I've seen people in my industry that have had bad things happen, and you lose an industry reputation, not just close into your business. So another difficult thing is just enduring the cost of the whole process, and worse off yet, after the breach from a compliance perspective. Is an auditor going to be that much tougher on your business the following 2 years because you failed to really establish the right IT security up front? So these are all very real consequences of a cyber attack. Okay, and then finally, just the stress of worrying, hey, can we recover our data, or is it gone for good? So it's really challenging and really painful. So what are some of the factors that influence premiums today? Well, there's a whole bunch of them. And you can see over here on the chart on the right, and the amount of insurance you can buy has a lot to do with what industry you're in based on risk. So you've already heard about the energy industry being attacked. You've heard about technology companies like A&P being attacked. You've heard about banks being attacked. So it's really difficult when you're in the crosshairs of the cyber criminal industry to really get good coverage. So what industry you're in really does matter. And then what kind of data do you have? How much data do you collect? How important is it to keep the data? All those things also really matter. Take a look at the size of your business. Are you a $5 million business, or are you a $100 million business? The insurance company is going to look at that and determine your level of risk just based on the size of your business. And then for me, this is probably the most important thing, is what are you doing from a cybersecurity perspective today? What are you doing to keep your IT hygiene as flawless as it can be? To what extent are you implementing best practices? It really matters. And finally, I would say right now we're seeing our customers are able to purchase policies that have about a $500,000 limit up to $2 million. The largest policy A&P can purchase right now is a $2 million limit. We buy that. We buy the $2 million limit, but we can't purchase more. Honestly, I think if we could, we would. So what are some of the factors that are influencing your potential premium? Well, there's a bunch of stuff, and you really want to get dialed in here because it can work to your advantage. Here's the first story. This is going to surprise you, but it shouldn't. Imagine a cyber criminal gets into your network, and the first thing they do once one of your employees has given up a user ID and password, and the bad guys are in your network. For the most part, most people don't know the bad guys in the network. And the FBI says the amount of time the criminal is in your network roaming around undetected, it's called dwell time, is anywhere from 6 to 8 months. So once someone gets into your network and you don't know it, they spend 6 to 8 months cruising around trying to learn as much as they possibly can about you before they actually try to encrypt your data and attack you. So what are they doing while they're cruising around during that dwell time period? Well, here's what they're doing. When they first log in with your employees' credentials, typically, and most employees don't have administrative credentials. We call those elevated credentials. They just have regular employee credentials. So the first thing the bad guy wants to do is add some new credentials, add themselves in just in case your employee, because of good IT hygiene, you're forcing your employees to update their passwords every 6, 9, or 12 months. So they don't want to get locked out. And so the first thing they do is create their own credentials. Once they have their own credentials created, then they want to elevate their credentials to an administrative level. And this takes time to work through all this in an undetected way. So once they have administrative credentials, they essentially have the keys to the castle and go to any system they want whenever they want. And the first place they go is to your accounting system. They want to learn how much money does your company keep as an average daily balance in the bank? So why do they want to know that? So the reason they want to know that is when they finally do attack you and they encrypt your data, the first thing they'll do is send you an email asking you for a ransom payment. Well, what do you think they base their ransom request on? Back a couple of years ago, we were seeing requests of $600, $1,000. The highest we saw was $10,000. Well, now what the criminals are doing is they're asking for whatever your bank balance is. And so the process here normally is some negotiation as you go back and forth with the bad guys trying to lower their ransom request to a smaller number. And the first thing, the insurance company is going to say to the bad guys is, I can't pay $1 million. I don't have $1 million in the bank. And the next thing that the cyber criminal does is they send you via email a copy of your bank statement. So this is where we find ourselves today. So one of the things to help guide you and how much insurance should you be advising your owner to buy is, well, how much money do you keep in the bank? And because more than likely, the bad guys, they're going to try to figure that out before they even ask for a ransom payment. The next thing I would recommend that you consider is that you buy absolutely as much cyber insurance as the insurance company is willing to offer you. If they're offering you $1 million policy and you can save a couple pennies going to $500,000, don't do it. Buy the highest you can, have a couple of years without any claims, and you'll probably be offered a higher value later. So God forbid, A&P has never had a claim, and so we're maxed out right now at $2 million. And I would hope that for you, but you're going to have to kind of work your way up to that number. So always purchase the highest limit they will offer you. And unfortunately, like I told you before, your cyber insurance policy is far more likely right now to get a claim than any of the other policies you're buying. So I don't think this is a place where you pinch your pennies. This is a place where you try to get the highest limit you can to protect your business. Okay, so knowing that hey, we want to buy the highest we can. We want to recognize we want to buy at least as much as we have in the bank as a balance. So how do you go about applying for cyber insurance? Well, there are some steps to this, and unfortunately, because the insurance companies are just getting clobbered right now from a coverage claim perspective, they've gotten much better at the underwriting process, because as they continue to lose money, they knew they had to be way more diligent in who they're going to insure before they even sell you the insurance. And I can tell you, we have our virtual CIO on the call here today, that literally our clients will bring the CIO a 3-page form on the underwriter of your insurance broker asking, hey, tell me what's going on with your IT security. Can you answer these questions? And many of the questions are very technical. Our customers don't even understand what they mean and are asking us to help them fill out the form. So I can almost guarantee you, and we're seeing this year over year, that the form's getting longer. It's getting more specific. So the insurance industry is getting way better at making sure the people they're selling insurance to are already doing the right stuff. But the last thing you want to do is lie on one of these things or kind of bluff your way through and say yes to things that aren't true. Because if you have a cyber incident and the forensics company does get involved, they're going to look, the insurance company is going to give them your questionnaire and they're going to confirm, do I have this turned on like they said I did? Am I doing this as I said I was doing? They're literally going to go through and check all this stuff out. So this is not a place where you want to get caught in a lie and then unfortunately lose all your coverage exactly when you need it. Okay, so with that said, what are the requirements? What are the questions they're going to ask you about to get the insurance? Well, the first one they're going to ask you, and this is probably kind of obvious, is have you ever had to pay ransom before? Did you have to pay ransom to restore your data? And if you say yes to this, I can almost guarantee you they're not going to insure you. And it's not fair, but it is what it is. They have the opportunity here to pick who they're going to insure. And the last person they want to insure is someone that has bad IT hygiene. The next thing, and this would be the most important thing you want to have turned on right now in your IT from a security perspective, is multi-factor authentication. So are you using multi-factor authentication right now to control who has access into your network? MFA is very, very important. Almost all our clients at this point have it turned on, but it's also important to note that you're not using text-based MFA. We can talk about that later, but there's technical reasons why text-based MFA is no longer as good as an application-based multi-factor authentication. The next thing, and you've known this for years, hey, do you have antivirus? Do you have malware? Is it installed on all your PCs, laptops, and servers? And then, are you sure that the product is actually working, that it's quarantining files, that it's updating its signature list all the time? That's very important. And it's kind of table stakes today. Almost everyone has that going. And this thing's brand new. Have you deployed EDR? Have you ever heard of EDR? Well, EDR stands for Endpoint Detection and Remediation. It's a piece of software. And this is a brand new product that you absolutely need to deploy. We deployed it across all our customers a couple of months ago, and I'll explain to you why it's needed. When you look at the way antivirus and malware products work, is they're file-based products that look at every file on your PC. And they evaluate, hey, is this file look the way it's supposed to look? Or has something been modified on it? Is there something that makes this file look weird? And whenever you have files that are modified, there's a high likelihood that something bad's going on with that file. And so the file would automatically be thrown into a quarantine and be kept away from the rest of the files on your PC. So antivirus and malware are file-based security measures. So the cybersecurity criminals, they're really smart, and recognizing that almost everyone has antivirus or malware on their PCs, they recognize, hey, we need a new way, a new attack vector. We need a new way to get in and attack a customer that won't be monitored, that won't be detected. And so what the criminals are doing now is they're running scripts that load processes into memory. So once the CPU starts running a process that's in memory, it's not file-based, so antivirus isn't catching it and can't see it. And what EDR does is pays attention to all the processes that are running in your PC at any given moment. And if you ever do it, Control-Alt-Delete and look at your task manager and take a look at how many processes are running at any given time on your PC, the older your PC gets, it can literally be running over 1,000 processes at any given moment. And EDR software pays attention to these processes. Are they appropriate? Are they what I expect? Or is there something starting here that doesn't look right? And EDR is even so sophisticated. It's a cloud-based product. It recognizes if one process triggers a second process that triggers a third process. And all of a sudden, it can start to recognize a certain type of attack that's taking place by the bad guys. The minute it sees these processes firing off, within milliseconds, it stops the process and quarantines it. So this is really kind of a cool new product. And because the cyber criminals are now relying on script and process-based attacking, having EDR is becoming table stakes. If your insurance company doesn't ask you this year when you get a cyber policy, if you have EDR, I can guarantee you they'll be asking next year. So there's more stuff you want to think about here. One of the things you can do is you can also encrypt all the data on your servers, desktops, and laptops. So why do you want to do that? Let's say you have a laptop, you're out in the field, and your employee inadvertently leaves it at a Starbucks and the laptop's stolen. Back in the day, someone would take that laptop apart to get to that disk drive, take that disk drive, and then load it on one of their own PCs and read the disk. Hey, what's the data on here? What's it look like? What's going on here? Is this anything I could sell? Is there anything in here that the owner of this laptop would want to protect and get back and pay for? So when you encrypt that disk drive and they take it out and stick it in their own PC, all they're going to see is garbage. They're not going to see your actual data. So there's a real advantage here to always having all your data encrypted. Another thing the insurance company is going to want to know is, do you have cloud-based backup? So why is that important? For our customers that have on-premise servers, we deploy something called a storage appliance. It's just another server with a lot of disk drives in it, just a lot of storage capacity. And we never connect that server to their domain. So, it's kind of stands alone separately. So with the idea being, if a cyber criminal gets in the network, they don't even see that this product's sitting on the network. And then we back up all your customer data onto our storage appliance. Once we get it on the storage appliance, the next thing we do is we stream it up to Microsoft Azure. And the whole idea here is, if the bad guys encrypted the data that's on your application servers, if they even found AMP's storage appliance and they encrypted the backups that are on the storage appliance, there's always another set of backups that's air-gapped or outside of the building, up in the cloud, that they can't see, they don't know anything about, that will be your lifeline to recovering data. So another reason why the the insurance company wants you to have a cloud-based backup. And then finally, do you have an incident plan? Do you know, if you had a cyber incident, what is the first thing you should do? What's the second thing you should do? And frankly, what are the 10 things you shouldn't do? And there's very specifics. Here at AMP, our engineers know the second something happens that's bad, exactly what to do, and they also know what not to do. A written cyber incident response plan gives you all of that, and that's something we provide to all our customers so they know what to do. And because it is a crime scene, and because the cyber criminals could be doing some really tricky stuff, there's really very definitely best practices on how to handle that environment. And by the way, it's not turning your devices off like you might imagine. So that kind of, in a nutshell, helps you kind of understand what you need to be looking for, what the insurance company is going to be looking for from you, and to help you, if you're not a client right now and you need some help really understanding where your company lies right now, AMP offers a cyber insurance readiness assessment, and we'll offer this for free to you. And what's included is, we're going to evaluate your current security practices. What does your IT hygiene look like today? Is it appropriate? Are you doing best practices, or are there gaps on things that you need to work on? And we'll help you determine how you're doing, and if there is any gap that you need to fix before trying to apply for cyber insurance. And then we'll provide you with a written report that you can hand over to your insurance broker, letting the insurance company know that you're in really good shape. And if there are gaps, we're here to help you. We'll tell you, and you can tell your own IT service provider if you have one right now, and tell them specifically what they need to do on your behalf. And if you don't have a provider, or they're not really sure what to do, we'd be happy to help you out there as well. The second thing that AMP can do for you is, we offer a managed service product. And this is a proactive product called Secure Cloud Advantage. And what Secure Cloud Advantage is all about is, we will proactively set up your Microsoft Office 365 security stack to best practices. So what's that mean? So the 365 stack gives you multi-factor authentication, but it also goes way past that. We can set up geography limits. So if your employees all work, let's say in the Delaware Valley, if someone tries to log in from out in Colorado, or someone tries to log in, one of your employees gives up their user ID and password, and someone over in Russia tries to log in, the 365 will flag that, and because of geography, and stop that employee, that bad hacker from getting in. We can also share with 365 what PCs your employees own, kind of like a fingerprint of the PC. So not only is 365 looking for a user ID and password, but it's also looking for the PC that's been authorized to gain access. So again, if you have a bad guy that's stolen a user ID and password, but they're right here in Philadelphia, but they don't have the right PC, they're not getting in. So these are the kinds of things we can do to really lock you down and implement really some of the best and most powerful cybersecurity best practices that are out there. You know, we talked about the most important one is getting multi-factor authentication going, will help you get your cloud backups going. And then minutes matter in a cyber attack. And so we're set up so the minute we see an attack, we create a ticket, we inform you, we inform our engineers. We run our engineers 24/7 here at A&P, and we know exactly what to do when we see an attack take place because we're going to run that cyber incident plan. At A&P here, we have a dedicated team of Microsoft certified experts that can help you with 365 and Azure. And that includes setting up Teams, SharePoint Online, Exchange Online. We also have expert VCIOs, virtual CIOs, that can help you with strategic planning, developing an IT roadmap, and then establishing an annual budget so that you can reach your strategic business goals. And we will also lifecycle manage all of your equipment from cradle to grave. When you buy it to when you pull it out of the network, we'll do the firmware updates, we'll watch for vulnerabilities, and completely take care of your products while they're in your environment. We'll also provide you with ongoing training. And like I said, we have a network operations center that's running 24 hours a day, 7 days a week here to help you and your users. Okay, so with that said, let's summarize here. Where are we from a takeaway perspective today? Well, unfortunately, cyber insurance is kind of the new normal. And it's absolutely something, if you don't have it, you should be getting it. And if you do have it, you should be trying to get a higher limit of liability. And like I said earlier, just because you have a policy doesn't mean you get to ignore cybersecurity and your own company's IT hygiene. I feel that your security practice and what you're doing from an IT hygiene perspective is going to determine whether or not you're insurable or what your premium is going to be. And again, if you don't have a policy today, go get one. And if you're not sure where you stand, you don't have a policy, you're not really sure if you're really running the best practices, I would encourage you to take advantage of our free assessment. So with that, I'm done with my content here. We're certainly here to help with any questions. I also have some of our cloud and security experts here to help as well. So let me toss it back to Andrea. And Andrea, I'm gonna get a drink of water here.
Great. Thanks, Dave. A lot of great information here you covered today. We do have a few questions I wanted to run through. The first one is, well, I can answer this one, and that is the slide deck going to be available to attendees? Yes, it is. I'm going to send out in the follow-up a copy of today's presentation for all of you to have. The next question is, why isn't text message and multi-factor authentication good enough?
Oh, that's a good question, Andrea. Microsoft announced just about a week ago that they now recognize that cyber criminals can listen to a cellular signal and actually listen for your employee's text message that has the text code on it for MFA. And then what's even scarier, they can emulate your employee's cell phone and answer back as if you had okayed the text message to let someone in. So I would say anytime you're using MFA and you're relying on a cell phone, a nation state attacker could intercept that cell phone message and then spoof you. So that is not the way to go moving forward, Andrea.
Yeah, that's absolutely frightening.
It's scary.
So the next question is, which cyber insurance company do you recommend?
Ooh, that's a good question. So for me, there's probably three big ones out there right now. There are others there are some specialty cyber carriers that are boutique carriers, and you might need to go to one of them if you have been attacked, and they're kind of insurers of last resort. But the three main ones are, you're probably already doing business with one of these three. So CNA would be one, Travelers, or Hartford. I think those are the big three for business insurance, and all three of them have cyber policies, technology policies, Andrea.
And finally, what does it cost to get the small business $2 million coverage that you mentioned earlier?
Ooh, that's a good question. So I've seen premiums all over the place, but I'll share with you AMP's premium. We have the most coverage we can purchase, $2 million, and we pay $9,141 a year. It kind of makes me sick to my stomach to say it, but that's the cost of being safe today.
Thanks for sharing that, Dave. And so that's all we have for today. I just want to remind you to keep an eye out for the follow-up survey, and please email us at connect@amp.net if you're interested in the cyber readiness assessment. So I hope you found this presentation insightful, and thank you for joining us, and I hope you enjoy your afternoon. Take care.